Here we are, Kathy and I back for Topic Tuesday, and this topic is why we lose the spirit and thought battle. So if you looked at Monday, this was about spiritual warfare and battles. And so we talked about that, and it often starts with your spirit and your thoughts. But that raises a question. And the question is, if we know God's truth, why do we still get hijacked?
Such a good question, Brian. Honestly, most of us, we don't wake up planning to be anxious or fearful or discouraged, yet somehow we end up there.
Yeah, and that's because there's usually some sort of root cause underneath what we are experiencing. For me, when I talked about that licensing test, the root cause wasn't the test. It was actually the fear of failure specifically, and not being prepared and what was going to happen, and even letting people down, including my work.
Hmm. Isn't that so true in so many situations? Sometimes we think we're stressed about money, but underneath it, it's fear. Or we think we're frustrated with somebody, but underneath it's offense. Or we think we're struggling with confidence, but underneath that is comparison.
Yeah, so we're going to share with you, we've found there's five common things that can hijack your spirit and your thoughts. You might jot these down or keep rewatching this. Fear is one. We've talked about some of that. Comparison to other people is another one. Unbelief. Do you really believe in God and have faith? Unresolved offenses is number four. And ungodly input. What are you putting into your mind? Because that definitely influences your mind. And these things quietly shape how we think and how we respond.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that in every season, there seems to be some kind of attack that hits us differently. So in one season of life, it might expose fear in us, or another season of life may expose comparison or even unbelief. And the attacks seem to change with the seasons.
And that's why it's so important to understand the difference between temptation and an agreement. So, a fearful thought isn't sin. Fearful thoughts can come into your mind. Different thoughts that could be temptation can come into your mind. I remember a quote from our pastor who said, "You can't keep the birds from flying over your head, but you can keep them from building a nest." And so, the comparison thought isn't sin either. The question is, what do we do next with the thought?
Yeah, and do we agree with it or do we surrender it?
And that's where a simple three-step process comes in spiritually: stop, surrender, and then speak truth. What is God's truth? We talk about truth a lot. Stop and recognize what's really happening, surrender that thought to God, then replace it with God's truth, which is His word.
And that's what happened with Brian's test. So, Brian, the fear wasn't removed by trying harder. You even said you stopped and you took some time to pray and kind of just hear God's truth. And that's when the fear lost its power, when it was replaced with God's word. My grace is sufficient for you.
Yeah, I can still feel it. Just all my nerves calm down and relax. And so that's what the stay slow helps us to do, not to avoid the battle, but to be able to win it right here in our mind. So use this, and Wisdom Wednesday will be coming to help you even further on this battle that happens every day.